I've never seen the like since I've been born in Arkansas farm with the sea boots on, and Johnny come down to high-low, a poor old man. So wake her, shake her, wake that gal with the blue dress on, and Johnny come down to high-low, a poor old man. I love a girl across the sea, she's a Belgian beauty, and she says to me, Johnny come down to high-low, a poor old man. So wake her, shake her, wake that gal with the blue dress on, and Johnny come down to high-low, a poor old man. Well, my wife died in Tennessee, they sent her jawbone back to me. Johnny come down to high-low, a poor old man. So wake her, oh shake her, oh wake that gal with the blue dress on, and Johnny come down to high-low, a poor old man. I put that jawbone on the fence, and I ain't heard nothing but the jawbone since. Johnny come down to high-low, a poor old man. So wake her, boys, shake her, boys, wake that gal with the blue dress on. Johnny come down to high-low, a poor old man. Oh, Jeannie's in the garden picking peas, the hair on her head grows down to her knees. Johnny come down to high-low, a poor old man. So wake her, shake her, wake that gal with the blue dress on, and Johnny come down to high-low, a poor old man. Good morning, everybody. JT here with Sunday Sea Songs. Feeling a little nervous. This is exciting. So it's been a whole year, which I realize I've been marveling about for about 2 weeks now, but I'm really floored that it's been a year since I started this. So welcome to my live anniversary concert. Who knows how much longer this all goes on, but you know what? I'm gonna keep going as long as it's fun. So here we are. That first tune, Johnny Come Down to High-Low, is one of my favorites, and also one of some of the most views on YouTube, which is kind of cool. The combination there is great. Full disclosure, I have some pretty solid stage fright going right now, so I do have my words up as well. But anyway, good morning, welcome. Oh, the smartest ship that you will find is ho-way-ho, are you most done? She's the Margaret Evans of the Blue Star Line, so clear the track, let the bullshine run. To me, hey, rig a jig in a jaunting car. Ho-way-ho, are you most done? Flies a lee all on my knees, so clear the track, let the bullshine run. Oh, we're outward bound to the West Street Pier. Ho-way-ho, are you most done? With Galway shell and Liverpool beer, so clear the track, let the bullshine run. To me, hey, rig a jig in a jaunting car. Ho-way-ho, are you most done? With lies a lee all on my knees, so clear the track, let the bullshine run. And when we're out, and when we're out in New York town, oh, ho-way-ho, are you most done? We'll dance those Bowery girls around, so clear the track, let the bullshine run. To me, hey, rig a jig in a jaunting car. Ho-way-ho, are you most done? With Liza Lee all on my knees, so clear the track, let the bullshine run. Margaret Evans of the Blue Star Line is ho-way-ho, are you most done? She's never a day behind her time, so clear the track, let the bullshine run. To me, hey, rig a jig in a jaunting car. Ho-way-ho, are you most done? With Liza Lee all on my knees, so clear the track, let the bullshine run. To me, hey, rig a jig in a jaunting car. Ho-way-ho, are you most done? With Liza Lee all on my knees, so clear the track, let the bullshine run. That's a fun one. That's one that I've liked for a long time. And recently I discovered a group. I think I posted about this when I first did that song on the channel. I first learned of that one from a group called, or most recently, that is, learned that one, reacquainted my love for it, shall we say, from a group called The Longest Johns, based out of England, and they're awesome. If you haven't checked them out yet, I've encouraged it a few times. I'll encourage it again. They're an a cappella group, and they just, the harmonies those guys do, and their choice of songs is very good as well. So yeah, can highly recommend. I'm a big fan of that one. This next one is called Patty Works on the Railway. And this is one that when I say I do sea songs and that I do this one, people get a little confused. But the thing is, when you start looking at the history of American folk music, particularly when it comes to sea songs, you're looking at your labor force, right? Sea shanties in particular are work songs. They're intended to help get a job done. And so that's your workforce for a lot of these ships and for a lot of the railroads, at least in America, is the Irish, probably in a few other places too, but certainly in the history of the United States. So a lot of these tunes have a lot of Irish influence. They also have a lot of Black influence from periods of slavery and non-slavery. Your workforce tends to be Black and Irish on these ships. Not all ships, obviously, blanket statements here, but so there's some crossover as well between railway songs and sea songs for that reason. This is one of my favorites, Patty Works on the Railway, so we're going to hop into that one. In 1861, I put my corduroy breeches on. The American Railroad had just begun working on the railway. Fiddle me, ori, ori, hey, fiddle me, ori, ori, hey, fiddle me, ori, ori, hey, working on the railway. 1862, I'm looking around for something to do, but work upon the railway. Fiddle me, ori, ori, hey, fiddle me, ori, ori, hey, fiddle me, ori, ori, hey, working on the railway. 1863, I thought that I should go to sea, but the American Railroad hired me. I'm working on the railway. Fiddle me, ori, ori, hey, fiddle me, ori, ori, hey, fiddle me, ori, ori, hey, working on the railway. 1864, I found my back was mighty sore, from working on the railway. Fiddle me, ori, ori, hey, fiddle me, ori, ori, hey, fiddle me, ori, ori, hey, I'm working on the railway. 1865, I found myself more dead than alive, from working on the railway. Fiddle me, ori, ori, hey, fiddle me, ori, ori, hey, fiddle me, ori, ori, hey, working on the railway. 1866, I found myself in a whale of a fix, stepped in a pile of dynamite sticks, working on the railway. Fiddle me, ori, ori, hey, fiddle me, ori, ori, hey, fiddle me, ori, ori, hey, working on the railway. 1867, my children now, they numbered 11, of boys had 4, girls had 7, working on the railway. Fiddle me, ori, ori, hey, fiddle me, ori, ori, hey, fiddle me, ori, ori, hey, working on the railway. 1868, I finally got rich, but far too late. I was picking pearls at the pearly gates, working on the railway. Fiddle me, ori, ori, hey, fiddle me, ori, ori, hey, fiddle me, ori, ori, hey, working on the railway. Fiddle me, ori, ori, hey, fiddle me, ori, ori, hey, fiddle me, ori, ori, hey, working on the railway. It's a great tune. It's cheeky. It's very real. I mean, obviously, working on the railroad is back-breaking labor. Working at sea as well. So, but yeah, there's some good tongue-in-cheek. There's some good Irish humor, and I think that's part of what I enjoy so much about these songs. There's a lot of snark in them, and part of that is the context in which they were used, right? So, quick discussion of sea songs as a genre here. The term sea shanty has kind of come to mean any song about the sea in the popular imagination. And that's not exactly accurate. A shanty is a very specific subset of sea songs. So you have sea shanties and everything else loosely. Shanties are specifically work songs. So the idea is they were tools to get a job done. And you have different types of shanties for different types of jobs, right? So you wouldn't use a screwdriver to hammer in a nail. You wouldn't use oh golly, I'm on the spot now. You wouldn't use a short drag shanty on the capstan, right? That said, in a fix, if you really needed to hammer in a nail and all you had is a screwdriver, you could probably bang with the handle enough to get it done. So there is some crossover with these songs. It's also an oral tradition, right? So these tunes, they change and they fluctuate a lot. You have a shantyman on one ship show up on another with this other tune. It gets mixed with another tune. He's got scraps of this thing and he needs to make it work for a given job. So there's a lot of crossover with these songs. So the nature of these songs is important. And shanties were often a way for the shantyman and the crew to kind of make fun of their superiors on a ship in a socially acceptable way, right? They wouldn't necessarily get in trouble if during the shanty they are poking fun at the first mate or something like that. So there's a good bit of cheekiness to some of these songs. Also a good bit of sentimentality. The songs, a good bit of sentimentality. We'll leave it at that. A lot of these songs are love songs. A lot of these songs are songs about missing home. This next one, The Leaving of Liverpool, is not a shanty. It's a more of an entertainment song. One of my favorites, and talking about how how this young man is about to go to sea, and he's going to miss his love, right? So relatable, I think. Fare thee well to you, me own true love. I am going far away. I am bound for California, and I know that I'll return someday. So fare thee well, me own true love, and when I return united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that grieves me, but me darling, when I think of thee. I shipped on a Yankee sailing ship. Davy Crockett is her name, and Burgess is the captain of her, and they say that she's afloat in hell. So fare thee well, me own true love, and when I return united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that grieves me, but me darling, when I think of thee. The ship is in the harbor, love, and I wish I could remain, but I know it's gonna be a long, long time before I see you again. So fare thee well, me own true love, and when I return united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that grieves me, but me darling, when I think of thee. So fare thee well, me own true love, and when I return united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that grieves me, but me darling, when I think of thee. That's a really beautiful song, and I am losing my voice, so that's fun. Apologies, I've been battling a cold for the last couple of weeks. I was a little worried when I woke up this morning. I'm just gonna truck through until I decide I can't anymore, so bear with me, y'all. We'll see how long this goes. But yeah, that's a pretty common theme in sea music, right? This idea that I'm going away for a very long time, and in some cases they were going away for a very long time, right? Sorry, cats. What you doing, bud? Come here. Yeah. Cats. But in any case, in some cases, these guys were leaving for a very long time. The whale fishery, for example, the American whale fishery, by about the 1850s or so, the average voyage lasted around 3 or 4 years. At least 2, up to 4 as a general rule. The longest I think was something like 11 or 12 years, something completely absurd, right? The trouble is with whaling, you're going out trying to find whales, and it's not profitable to come back with more than a full hull, with less than a full hull, that is. So you would go out and try to stay at sea as long as possible. You could also try out the blubber on the ship, and so you didn't have to come back to shore to do that. And then there's a whole. I did my undergraduate thesis on whaling, so I will go into that forever if you let me. But it is relevant to a lot of these songs, because again, these guys are gone for a very long period of time, and it's hard work, and you get nostalgic. You miss home and that kind of thing. This next tune takes kind of a fun twist on that, and I really enjoy it for that reason. For a number of reasons, actually. It's just fun. I get to holler a little bit with this one, so it's a fun tune. This one is one of a number of sea songs that has some fairly adult themes. The actual, some of the other words, I shouldn't say the actual, some of the other words to this tune are not exactly family friendly. I have a fairly family friendly version that I've picked up from Don Sonetti back at Mystic Seaport. I tend to pick the family friendly versions of these songs mostly because I have a mixed audience. I do have a soft spot for the raunchy tunes. I think they're fabulous. Shout out to my friend Mark Bernier, who's one of my mentors in this, who has a great catalog of raunchy songs. So I picked up a couple from him as well. But this is not a raunchy version of a generally fairly raunchy song. Now, me lads, be of good cheer, the Irish land will soon draw near. A few days more and we'll sight Cape Clear. Oh, Ginny, get your oat cake done. Jamboree, oh jamboree, oh ringtail sailor, shoot it home behind. Jamboree, oh jamboree, oh Ginny, get your oat cake done. Now we're off of Holyhead, no more to heave the Dixie lead, and soon we'll be in a fine feather bed. Oh, Ginny, get your oat cake done. Jamboree, oh jamboree, oh ringtail sailor, shoot it home behind. Jamboree, oh jamboree, oh Ginny, get your oat cake done. And now we're tied up to the docks, and them pretty young girls to the Pierhead flock. Hey, there's my Ginny in a new pink frock. Oh, Ginny, get your oat cake done. Jamboree, oh jamboree, a ringtail sailor, shoot it home behind. Jamboree, oh jamboree, oh Ginny, get your oat cake done. Now we're safe upon the shore, and we don't give a damn how hard the winds do blow. I'll drop me anchor and I'll go to sea no more. Oh, Ginny, get your oat cake done. Jamboree, oh jamboree, oh ringtail sailor, shoot it home behind. Jamboree, oh jamboree, oh Ginny, get your oat cake done. Now 2 weeks we've been ashore, I'll pack my bags and I'll go to sea once more. I'll say farewell to that Liverpool whore. Oh, Ginny, get your oat cake done. Jamboree, oh jamboree, a ringtail sailor, shoot it home behind. Jamboree, oh jamboree, oh Ginny, get your oat cake done. I love that one for a number of reasons, but one of them is that you get this impression for most of the song that Ginny is his love, right? He's coming home to see her, and not so much, right? It also covers a seagoing theme of coming back to shore and being so glad to be back on shore, and I'm going to be here forever. I'm never going back to sea again, right? But inevitably, for one reason or another, a sailor goes back to sea. Up to a certain point, obviously, right? Sometimes that's money, often it's money. Men would come into shore, be happy to have money for the first time in a really long time, have some freedom, and they'd blow their money really quickly and realize that they had to go to sea again because they blew all their money. There's a really great tune about that, one of my favorites, which I may or may not do today. I don't think I'm going to do it. Go to Sea No More. touches on that heavily as well. Sometimes it was just that you got used to life at sea, right? It's different, but it's different. It's miserable, but there's some charm to it, right? There's that rigidity, that routine, and if someone is nagging you at home, be it bill collectors or your wife or whatever, there's a certain amount of freedom in going to sea as well, or at least perceived freedom. So inevitably, these men would go back to sea, and in this case, he's going back to sea and saying peace out to Ginny, who is not his wife or sweetheart, but actually a whore that he's quite fond of. Side note on actually, so I'm from Colorado. I'm just outside of Denver, and there's a bunch of small mining towns up here. And the one I grew up in, actually, there was a whorehouse down the street, and there was a story about, and I never really verified this. I really should before I tell the story, but it's a great story anyway. Supposedly there were something like six prostitutes in this little tiny town, and something like 6 minors in this tiny little town. And every night, week, whatever, however regularly, these men would go to the whorehouse, and they started just pairing up with the same whore over and over again because they were, they liked them, they enjoyed themselves, and everyone kind of did that. So they were almost sort of de facto sweethearts because of these odd circumstances they found themselves in. So yeah, some good history around here too. Not a lot of maritime history, though more than I knew about. I'll get into some of that later. Speaking of whaling, this is one of my favorite tunes for that because it goes into a good bit of that. Let's see. Yeah, we're gonna have to full screen that bad boy. But yeah, this tune gets into some of the specifics of whaling that I don't think a lot of people know, and it's a great tune for that. In terms of these men going to sea inevitably again, sometimes it was against their will, and this against their will or under false pretenses, or they have a certain amount of romance surrounding it. They think it'll be good and whatever. But this is another one of my favorites, and another one with a lot of views on YouTube. Number 1 or 2, actually. So there's Blow Ye Winds. 'Tis advertised in Boston, New York, and Buffalo, 500 odd Americans wailing for to go, singing blow ye winds in the morning, blow ye winds I ho, clear away the running gear and blow, boys, blow. Take you up to New Bedford, that famous whaling port, give you to a land shark to board and fetch you out, singing blow ye winds in the morning, blow ye winds I ho, clear away the running gear and blow, boys, blow. Tell you the clipper ships just sailing in and out, say you'll take 500 sperm before you're 6 months out, singing blow ye winds in the morning, blow ye winds I ho, clear away the running gear and blow, boys, blow. Lower down the boats, me boys, and after him we'll travel. But if you get too near his flukes, he'll kick you to the devil, singing blow ye winds in the morning, blow ye winds I ho, clear away the running gear and blow, boys, blow. Now that he is ours, me boys, we'll bring him alongside, over with our blubber hooks, and we'll rob him of his hide, singing blow ye winds in the morning, blow ye winds I ho, clear away the running gear and blow, boys, blow. When we get home, me lads, no sailing days are over, get a glass around, we'll pass until these sails are wailing, singing blow ye winds in the morning, blow ye winds I ho, clear away the running gear and blow, boys, blow. Blow ye winds in the morning, blow ye winds I ho, clear away the running gear and blow, boys, blow. So that one, aside from the well, they say we're going to get so much, back to the discussion about how long these whaling voyages got to be. There's a line in there that says, they say you'll take 500 sperm before you're 6 months out, referring to 500 sperm whales, right? So the fact was, especially by the 1850s, they had pretty much fished out the whale grounds. They weren't sure where to look anymore. Either the whale populations were that dramatically diminished, or they had just moved to different places. And so they start going further and further out to these unknown reaches of the Pacific, right? These whalers are some of the first, I use Europeans lately because these crews were often mixed, but some of the first Europeans to explore the Pacific, deep into the Pacific, right? Melville ends up deserting his whale ship, the Acushnet, in the Marquesas Islands. So these guys are traveling really, really far, and they're not finding a lot of sperm whales. So that was a way to get these guys on the ships. It's like, oh no, you'll be great, you'll be rich. And you'll be rich because you'll get a lay of the profits. There's another verse to that tune that I didn't do this time, but it talks about the lay system, which sort of like working on commission. You would that's actually not the best. You would earn a percentage of the voyage's profits, and so you would sign on, depending on your rank, you would sign on for a certain lay. A 1/6 lay would be absurdly good, right? Because you get a sixth of the profits. I don't think that's very realistic. Most sailors were signing on at a 1 and 164th lay or 230th lay, right? It's not. So it was a way to make men work harder because the more whale you bring back, the more money you get, even if it's sort of a measly amount. So the song talks about that, talks about the specifics of the actual whaling. So you lower down the whale boats, you go over to the whale, you end up rowing and dragging him back to, or her back to the ship. And then you spend a long couple of days trying out the blubber, peeling it off, flensing the whale, boiling it down. Miserable, filthy work. And really depressing, right? I spent a good 6 months studying whaling for my senior thesis, and it's hard stuff to get through. I won't go into the specifics of it, actually. I don't want to ruin the morning, so I was about to start telling you how they killed the whale, and that just seems like a terrible decision. Get myself some more coffee here and keep this party rolling. Hi, Dawn. Thanks for joining. I see you there. I appreciate that you're here. All right, so this next tune, this was a short drag shanty about Napoleon Bonaparte, who's one of my favorite historical figures, just because, I mean, come on. So this tune's great because it's about Napoleon, so I can't get too, I have to get into it. Boney was a warrior, away, hey-ya, a warrior, a terrier, Jean-Francois. Boney was a Corsican, away, hey-ya, a rotten Corsican, Jean-Francois. Boney was a general, away, hey-ya, a randy-dandy general, Jean-Francois. Boney fought the Russians, away, hey-ya, and the Austrians and Prussians, Jean-Francois. Boney went to Moscow, away, hey-ya, and he lost his army in the snow, Jean-Francois. Boney went to Elbow, away, hey-ya, and then Boney he came back again, Jean-Francois. Boney went to Waterloo, away, hey-ya, and there he got overthrew, Jean-Francois. Boney he was sent away, away, hey-ya, away to St. Helena, Jean-Francois. Away to St. Helena, away, hey-ya, aboard the Billy Ruffian, Jean-Francois. Boney broke his heart and died, away, hey-ya, away in St. Helena, Jean-Francois. Boney he is dead and gone, away, hey-ya, and we will sing his funeral song, Jean-Francois. Boney was a warrior, away, hey-ya, a warrior, a terrier, Jean-Francois. It's just Rorton Corsican. Come on. It doesn't get better than Rorton Corsican. And actually, in terms of historical accuracy, this isn't bad, right? I mean, a few things they say elbow instead of elbow, right? Because sailors they consider sort of a bastardization of elbow, but yeah, he's sent away to exile. He comes back, rises again. Waterloo, he's done. He dies on St. Helena. Actually, when I was in New Orleans, there's a great restaurant bar sort of thing called the Napoleon House. And as far as I could gather, the history of it was the pirate Jean Lafitte built it as an oasis for Napoleon. His plan was to rescue Napoleon from exile in St. Helena and bring him to live in this palatial, beautiful building in New Orleans. And it didn't work. Napoleon died before he was able to be rescued. So they were like, oh, well, it'll turn it into a pub, I guess. So it's been a pub for 100 and something years, 200 years maybe. Very cool building. Highly recommend it. But just kind of a cool thing, some of the sentiment that Napoleon Bonaparte sort of inspires. I was going to try to do Lowlands Away today, but I was working on it this morning, and both the low and the high are out for me right now. I'm bummed because I really love that song. The I Dreamed a Dream the other night, Lowlands. There are a bunch of different varieties of Lowlands, right? It seems to be a pretty common theme in sea music. You have the Lowlands of Holland, which is a really fun tune about a young man who gets married, and the captain apparently just shows up at his bedside right after he's finished making love to his wife and says, "Hey, so we're fighting a war in Holland, and come on, you're coming." And he's like, "Oh, okay, I guess." That's the way the song reads anyway. Obviously, I don't think it's quite literal, but he goes off to fight this war after he's just been married. And so Lowlands is a very romantic sort of notion in sea music. This one, I Dreamed a Dream the other night, has a couple varieties of it as well. The sailor is dreaming about his love back home, and in the version I like the best, he wakes up to find that he's actually dreaming. Right? He hears the mate calling. The watch has to come up and realizes it's a dream, and he's just devastated by it. And to me, that is so heartbreaking. The 10 days I spent at sea on a tall ship, I had these anxiety dreams of being on watch, and then I'd be woken up to go and be on watch, and I thought I'd been on watch the whole time, and it was horrifying. And so for that to happen in this very lonely, romantic kind of way was that spoke to me. There are other versions of it where he thinks he's been visited by the ghost of his love and learns that through this that his love is dead. And that's, I think, very sad as well. But I actually find the other one a little sadder in an existential way. I'm not going to try that one this morning. I'm so sorry. I love that tune and I would love to do it, but that I don't have that high range on great days sometimes. So we'll see. This next one of my favorites. One of the first sea songs that I learned in Mystic, and it's fantastic. I do this one with Bones. It does not normally have bones. Normally there's a call and response element to this. A lot of call and response in sea songs because they're meant to be work songs, right? And this one is a capstan shanty. And I obviously don't have anyone to do the response parts, so I've made the Bones my response, which I find a lot of fun. I think it works fairly well. So here is Patty Lay Back. 'Twas a cold and wintry morning one December, and all of me money it was spent. Where to it went I can't remember, so down to the shipping office I went. Oh, Patty, lay back, taking your slack. Take a turn around the capstan, heave a paw, about ships to stations, boys be handy. We're bound to valorize around the Horn. On that day there was a great demand for sailors, for shipping for the colonies and for France. So I shipped aboard a limey but the Hotspur, and I paralytically jumped on my van. So Patty, lay back, taking your slack. Take a turn around the capstan, heave a paw, about ships to stations, boys be handy. We're bound to valorize around the Horn. Well, there were Spaniards and Russians and Dutchmen, and Johnny Crap was just across from France. Not a man amongst them spoke a word of English, but they answered to the name of Month's Advance. So Patty, lay back, taking your slack. Take a turn around the capstan, heave a paw, about ships to stations, boys be handy. We're bound to valorize around the Horn. Well, it was on the quarter deck when first I saw 'em. Such a motherly lot I never did see before. There's a bum and a stiff from every quarter, and it made me poor old heart feel sick and sore. Oh, Patty, lay back, taking your slack. Take a turn around the capstan, heave a paw, about ships to stations, boys be handy. We're bound to valorize around the Horn. Well, some of the fellas had been drinking, and I myself was heavily on the booze. So I sat upon the old sea chest a-thinking that I'd go into me bunk and have a snooze. Oh, Patty, lay back, taking your slack. Take a turn around the capstan, heave a paw, about ships to stations, boys be handy. We're bound to valorize around the Horn. Well, I woke up in the morning sick and sorrow, and I knew that I was outward bound again. And I heard a voice a-bawling at the door, oh, lay after man and answer to your name. So Patty, lay back, taking your slack. Take a turn around the capstan, heave a paw, about ships to stations, boys be handy. We're bound to vaporize around the horn. So I asked the maid which a watch was mine, oh. He said, you'll soon find out which is which. Then he beat me down and kicked me hard astern, oh. And he called me a dirty, lousy son of a fish. Oh, Paddy, lay back, taking your slack. Take a turn around the capstan, heave a ball about ships to stations, boys, be handy. We're bound to vaporize around the horn. So, fun tune, really cheeky tune. Again, very Irish, so the reference to Paddy. Bit of xenophobia in there, which you'll find in a lot of these songs. Johnny Crapo from France is a bastardization of Johnny Crapoud, Crapoud. And it was a British way to make fun of the French. I'll go into that more at some point if you want. But in any case, it's a really fun song. And you'll notice it's a bit longer than some of the other ones I've done. And the verses are a bit longer and things like that. This was, as I mentioned, a capstan shanty. Different songs for different jobs, different tools for different jobs, right? Capstan, for those that aren't familiar with capstan, if you've ever seen Muppet Treasure Island or anything else, it's the wooden bars in a circle and the men kind of pushing around, right? The idea with that is you've got a bunch of men pushing at the same time and you've got them walking in time with each other, and it's meant to make the work more efficient. But that was used for sometimes fairly long jobs, raising up an anchor or a whaleboat or something like that. You'd use a windlass for whaleboats too, but so sometimes you need a little more time, and shantymen would often have to come up with more verses as they ran out, and your skill as a shantyman was determined on how well you could improvise in some senses. And of course, this is all coming from memory for a lot of these guys. I actually do know a lot of these by memory, but I don't trust myself this morning or ever, really. I get a little stage fright, so I have the words for that one in front of me. But in any case, yeah, so that's a fun tune. I'm a big fan of that one. This next one, speaking of different songs for different jobs, this one was used for different things. It's thought to have been used for on the riverboats on the Mississippi for screwing cotton, which is storing cotton below decks. So a very different type of tune. The song's called "Way Down in Dixie." Picked this one up from Don Snetti as well, and it's good fun. So. Way down in Dixie, where I was born, sing a song, blow along, whoa. Way down in Dixie, where the cotton grows, sing a song, blow along, whoa. Way down in Dixie, I got a gal, sing a song, blow along, whoa. Way down in Dixie, her name is Fort Thomas now, sing a song, blow along, whoa. Way down in Dixie, she ran away with a circus clown, sing a song, blow along, whoa. Way down in Dixie, if I ever find that thieving tyke, sing a song, blow along, whoa. Way down in Dixie, I'll run him up with a morning spark, sing a song, blow along, whoa. And you can go on ad nauseum with that one, but that's a good one. Actually, I used that one in a public speaking class once. It was right at the beginning of the semester, and the professor wanted us to do an introduction speech, just a quick, tell the class who you are kind of thing. And one of her things for speeches was you want to do something that grabs people at the beginning, a quote or some poignant thought, right? And then you want to bookend your speech. So at the end, you want to use that as well. And because I really like sea shanties, I thought, well, a sea shanty will get their attention. So I got up with my bones and sang the sea shanty to start it, gave my speech, and at the end I sang it again, but I made them join me because call and response, right? And to their credit, some of them are still friends with me here on Facebook, so obviously they don't hate me too much for that. They were good sports about it. That was a lot of fun. So that's a good one for crowds because it's easy. It's pretty quick to pick up. It's short, and it's the hitch that whoa, the hitch. Is really fun to do, and if you can get a group to feel comfortable enough around each other to do it, it's it's good stuff. So I'm a fan of that. What am I gonna do next? I'll do this one next. Let's see. This is one of my favorite songs. I think it's really pretty. Kingston Trio did this one. Kingston Trio did a lot of these actually, because they're a folk act, and a lot of these are great folk songs. This one I picked up from Don Snetti too, and it's just such a pretty tune. I was recently, it's Portland Blow the Candle Out, about Portland, Maine. I was recently in Maine, not in Portland, unfortunately. I thought I was going to be, and I wasn't, and was hoping to do this one in Portland, Maine, but I'll just do it here. When I sailed into Portland, I called upon my dear. A candle in the window, its light shone bright and clear. I walked up to her doorstep, I knew she was within. A candle told the story, boys, that I was home again. I like her good behavior, I like her easy way. I cannot sleep contented, the night seems like the day. To sail in muddy weather makes me want to shout, and roll her in my arms, boys, and blow the candle out. When I sailed into Portland, 'twas as I said before. The candle in the window, my true love at the door. We let the candle go, boys, we had no fear or strife. We went to see the parson, and she became my wife. And when we have a baby boy, we'll name him after me. She'll keep him neat and kiss him and bounce him on her knee. And when this trip is over, I'll sail no more about. Yes, I'll remain in Portland, Maine, and blow the candle out. So back on the note of sailors going away, saying they're going to stay home, etc., etc. That's a really pretty one. It's just kind of a fun way to go. Not exactly the most. It's interesting in this sort of. I don't want to get political or anything, but there's a sort of reverence of this woman, but also this very clear understanding that she has a place, right? She's going to be raising the baby, and then she's there for his. Anyway, I'm not going to get political, but it is a really pretty song in any case. Let's see, what else today? Oh, this is a favorite. All right. So this tune, there are a few different recordings of this. There's a group called Morrigan that did this, and that's the first version I ever heard, and it's fun. The first versions, or the first sort of 20th century recordings that you'll hear of this at least, say, rather than "Would you help me, bub?" they'll say, "Would you help me, bub? There's a bully in the alley." But Stan Hugel did some research. Read this in passing, I apologize. But Stan Hugel did some research and said, no, it's not supposed to be "there's a bully." It's "I'm bully in the alley." So bully in the alley, no one really knows what it means. Maybe drunk in the alley, something like that. But it's a fun song, and it's one of the first ones I did for a video on Facebook here. So here we go. The fact that I'm losing my voice is actually not a bad thing for this one. So. Would you help me, bub? I'm bully in the alleyway. I'm bully in the alley. Help me, bub. I'm bully in the alley. Bully down in Shinbone now. Well, Sally is the girl that I love dearly. I'm bully in the alley. Sally is the girl that I love dearly. Bully down in Shinbone now. Would you help me, bub? I'm bully in the alleyway. I'm bully in the alley. Help me, bub. I'm bully in the alley. Bully down in Shinbone now. Sally is the girl that I spliced merely way and bully in the alley. Sally is the girl that I spliced merely, bully down in Shinmore now. Would you help me, bub? I'm bully in the alley way. I'm bully in the alley. Help me, bub. I'm bully in the alley, bully down in Shinmore now. For 5 long years I courted Sally Ray, I'm bully in the alley. All she did was dilly-dally, bully down in Shinmore now. Would you help me, bub? I'm bully in the alley. Way, I'm bully in the alley. Help me, bub. I'm bully in the alley, bully down in Shinmore now. So I'll leave Sal and I'll be a sailor away. I'm bully in the alley. I'll leave Sal. I'll ship the boat a whaler, bully down in Shinmore now. You help me, bub, I'm bully in the alley. Way, I'm bully in the alley. Help me, bub, I'm bully in the alley. Bully down in Shinmore now. Say, would you help me, bub, I'm bully in the alley. Way, I'm bully in the alley. Help me, bub, I'm bully in the alley. Bully down in Shinmore now. Oh golly, yep, it's going. But yes, that's a fun one. My favorite line in that is actually, Sally is the girl that I spliced nearly. Because my first thought is like, oh, he almost got there, right? But actually, the more you think about it, I was reading something about that, and splicing, right? If you're splicing a rope, you're joining it together. You're trying to repair your rope or make it longer. So actually, he's saying, I think, that he nearly married her, which is kind of a cool thing. Another reason to go to see Broken Heart, right? So a couple different themes there, obviously. This one's fun. This is another short drag called Hello Somebody. This is one I only recently picked up, and I'm sad I have it no longer. It's a good tune. Get some more coffee here. See if that helps. Somebody's knocking at the garden gate. Hello, somebody, hello, it's Bully John and his dirty maid. Hello, somebody, hello, well, Bully John from Baltimore. Hello, somebody, hello, I knew him well on the eastern shore. Hello, somebody, hello, well, Bully John is the mate for me. Hello, somebody, hello, he's a bully on land and a bucko at sea. Hello, somebody, hello, oh, Bully John, I knew him well. Hello, somebody, hello, but now he's dead and he's roasting in the fires of. Hello, somebody, hello, well, 8 little sailors went to heaven. Hello, somebody, hello, and 1 looked back and now there's 7. Hello, somebody, hello, around Cape Horn we all must go. Hello, somebody, hello, around Cape Horn through the frost and snow. Hello, somebody, hello. It's just fun, right? Like, that's a good one. Ordinarily, of course, that's a call and response sort of tune. So the hello, somebody, hello would be your response. Shantymen would sing the rest. Oh goodness, let's see. On time. Wow, okay, good. I wasn't sure how long this would actually go. I have a pretty solid hour and that'll be good. Okay. I as those of you who know me know, my schedule is a little unforgiving at the moment. I'm getting better. I'm cutting things away, but I don't have as much time to prepare for my weekly little hobby here as I think. Which is a bummer to me. So I had some time to kind of put some things together for this, but I wasn't able to time it out or anything like that and go through the whole set. So this is largely the first time I'm going through this set, but they're all songs that I've done for the channel, so nothing new there. Debating about what I want to do next. I have a set list, but I might deviate for a second here. I kind of just feel like playing another tune. This isn't actually a sea song, it's just a folk song that's kind of fun. Did it the other day just for kicks. It's a favorite of mine. I like a lot of these Irish tunes. This one is Star of the County Down. And lately I've been on a kick. I was recently introduced to the Van Morrison cover of that, and I've had it on repeat for about 3 weeks. It's phenomenal. So I've been wanting to sing it, and I think I'm gonna futz around on that for a minute. So. county down one morning last July. From a boring green came a sweet Colleen, and she smiled as she passed me by. She looked so sweet from her 2 brown feet to the sheen of her nut brown hair. Such a coaxing mouth, sure I shook myself for to see I was really there. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town, no maid I've seen like the brown Colleen as she stood in the county down. She onward sped, sure I scratched my head, and I looked with a feeling rare. And I says I to a passer-by, who's the maid with the nut brown hair. He smiled at me and he says he, that's the gem of Ireland's crown. Young Rosie McCann from the banks of the Banj is the star of the county down. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town, no maid I've seen like the brown Colleen as she stood in the county down. Sorry guys. The harvest fair shall be surely there, and I'll dress in my Sunday clothes, with my shoes shone bright and my hat cocked right for a kiss from my nut brown rose. My nut brown rose. You know what? Star of the county down. It's a great tune in any case. I've just recently picked up ukulele, as I think some of you guys know, and it's I'm trying to figure out how to hold it. I'm sure if I looked for half a second on the internet, I'd find something. But trying to figure out how to hold it and do chords has kind of been, it's so small, and it's great. I find I like it a lot better, in a lot of ways. I like it a lot better than playing the guitar because it's only 4 strings, and I can manage that a little better. I'm still not much of a ukulele player, obviously, but yeah, the downside, of course, of it being so small is that the frets are so tiny, and trying to, I don't have giant hands, but they're big enough, and trying to do anything has been a bit of a struggle, but I enjoy it anyway, and that's a great tune. So I'll move back into something that I'm a little better at here. Let's get back to the set list here. So this is a great tune. Another one good for when I'm losing my voice, because I do my lead belly impression. Actually, when I did this on the channel originally, I was also sick and losing my voice, so this will be good. Holloway Joe. This one has been translated into a couple different varieties of shanty. You could use it in a couple of different contexts, so. But here we go. When I was a little lad or so, my mother told me, way Holloway, will Holloway Joe, that if I didn't kiss the girls, my lips would grow all moldy. Way Holloway, will Holloway Joe, way Holloway, we'll haul and sing together. Way Holloway, will Holloway Joe, way Holloway, we'll haul for better weather. Way Holloway, we'll Holloway Joe. St. Patrick was a gentleman, he came from decent people. Way Holloway, we'll Holloway Joe. In Dublin town he built a church, and on it put a steeple. Way Holloway, we'll Holloway Joe. Way Holloway, we'll haul and sing together. Way Holloway, we'll Holloway Joe. Way Holloway, we'll haul for better weather. Way Holloway, we'll Holloway Joe. King Louis was the king of France before the Revolution. Way Holloway, we'll Holloway Joe. Then he got his head cut off, it spoiled his constitution. Way Holloway, we'll Holloway Joe. Way Holloway, we'll haul and sing together. Way Holloway, we'll Holloway Joe. Way Holloway, we'll haul for better weather. Way Holloway, we'll Holloway Joe. Once in my life I married a wife, but she was fat and lazy. Way Holloway, we'll Holloway Joe. But then I got a Yankee gal, she nearly drove me crazy. Way Holloway, we'll Holloway Joe. Way Holloway, we'll haul and sing together. Way Holloway, we'll Holloway Joe. Way Holloway, we'll haul for way away, we'll haul away Joe. Ooh, yeah, got it, good, okay. Yeah, so that's a nice tune. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. I think I've got one more for you here. It's just a fun tune, kind of a folk tune, not as much a sea song, but it works for me. I did this one pretty recently after I went to a water conference because all I could think of was, what you gonna do when that lake runs dry? Well, sit on the banks, I guess. So this is the Crawdad song. I know I have no way to know if you're singing along with me, but this is a fun tune, and it's a good, like, campfire kind of tune. So if you are watching and you would like to sing along, please, I should have encouraged that way before now. But I will encourage it now because this is a fun tune. So, you get a line, I'll get a pole, honey. You get a line, I'll get a pole, babe. You get a line, I'll get a pole. We'll go down to that crawdad hole, honey, babe mine. Yonder come a man, sack on his back, honey. Yonder come a man, sack on his back, babe. Yonder come a man, sack on his back. He flipped them crawdads back to back, honey, babe mine. You get a line, I'll get a pole, honey. You get a line, I'll get a pole, babe. You get a line, I'll get a pole. We'll go down to that crawdad hole, honey, babe mine. What you gonna do when that lake runs dry, honey? What you gonna do when that lake runs dry, babe? What you gonna do when that lake runs dry? Sit on the bank, watch the crawdads die, honey, babe mine. You get a line, I'll get a pole, honey. You get a line, I'll get a pole, babe. You get a line, I'll get a pole. We'll go down to that crawdad hole, honey, babe mine. What the hen duck say to the drake, honey? What the hen duck say to the drake, babe? What the hen duck say to the drake? No more crawdads in my lake, honey, babe mine. You get a line, I'll get a pole, honey. You get a line, I'll get a pole, babe. You get a line, I'll get a pole. We'll go down to that crawdad hole, honey, babe mine. Honey, babe mine. Honey, babe mine. All right, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate if you tune in for this. Awesome. I appreciate that I've been able to do this for the last year. You guys have been awesome. You guys have been really supportive, and I'm doing it for me, doing it for fun, but it's awesome that some of you guys are as into this as I am, and I really appreciate it. It's incredible to me that this has been going on for a year now. Some of you guys know I started doing something like this back in 2009 or so. I decided I wanted to try what I was calling my sea shanty quest at the time. I really needed a hobby to escape some things that I was dealing with, and so the goal was to do a weekly video and a blog post and some other things with it. And I think I did like three or four videos maybe, and it wasn't weekly. It fell apart. So when I started doing this, I sort of surprised that it caught on as well as it did, and so it's been a lot of fun. 43 subscribers on YouTube, which is awesome, and I think I only know a few of them, so hey. But anyway, it's been a heck of a year, and thank you guys for coming along with me. Like I said, thanks for tuning in today if you did, and I will catch you next Sunday.